Hello everybody, I am Miss Creeper and today I'm back with a brand new video. Today we're reviewing this. Some magical little substance that has arrived in the post when I got back from Switzerland. It's very exciting to finally have this in my hands. It is the newest Character Options official sonic screwdriver toy for the 13th Doctor. Now, before we open this and before we have a look at it and before we talk about its many features, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the background of this. So there's two versions released of this. One is the Character Options version and one is the 720 version. The 720 version is only available currently in America and the Character Options version is only currently available in the UK. I believe there are ways to get it, like through eBay and possibly like large priced international shipping, but I wasn't prepared to pay loads of money for a 721 as of yet. Maybe in a while when they've come down in price that will be a possibility, but for now I want to get the Character Options one. I have pretty much all the other Character Options ones, so it felt only right to get myself one of the newer ones. Now, my first impressions of the photo when I saw this compared to the 721 was it looked crap. It had sort of screw holes, it had very weak light effects, and it looked cheaply made. So, let's put that to the test. Let's see if it actually is cheaply made, and let's actually just have a look at it. This very interesting piece of tech here. It's not really tech, but it is a recreation of the new 13th Doctor sonic screwdriver. Now, I must say, first impressions are very good. The weight is perfect. There's a heavy-ish weight to it. It's light, obviously. It's a little bit heavier than the David Tennant one, so that's a good thing. I don't think it's as heavy as the Capaldi one, because the Capaldi one was like really well constructed. And that's something I'm going to compare it to in just a moment. But talking about its features, let's talk about how it looks first. So the look of it, it's actually pretty nice. It looked like a cheaper plastic on the photos, so it's a bit unfortunate because this has come out really nicely, especially on camera. It actually does look quite metallic. It's got all the different holes on the side that you'll be able to see in a moment. It comes with two buttons, which I'll talk about shortly. That's the one side, and on the other side it has the same side, but it has the screw holes, which I'm not a big fan of. There, and there. It also has, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but quite a bit of legal guff just sort of imprinted on there. You can't quite see that, unfortunately, but yeah, there is some printed legal stuff on there. With the screwdriver being more of a unique design, it doesn't have the sort of twist and pull feature to get the batteries in and out. So instead it uses this screw mechanism. So to get the batteries out you would have to unscrew all three of these and lift half of the casing off to just change three of the batteries. So it's interesting. The top shows a sort of crystallic sort of type shape. It's got metal bits in between it as well. Not actual metal, of course, plastic that's painted to look like metal. It looks alright. The actual look of it, when on display, actually looks really good. The weight is the right weight for a children's toy, as you'd expect, and if you have it on the side that isn't with the holes on it, it actually doesn't look too bad, and you could pass that off for an actual prop if used in YouTube videos, etc., like I'm going to be using it in. But anyway, let's talk about its different features. So it has two buttons on. One of the buttons presses down, one of the buttons doesn't. The button on top doesn't, but when you sort of move it slightly, it will activate the lights inside, which give it a sort of ambient glow before quickly turning off again to save battery. Now, this has become one of those sketchy things. You really have to tap this button here on top, and it will sort of light up for a little bit and then go off. Let's try to tap that again. There we go, back on. So it is quite hard to control, but there is actually a way of course, activating the screwdriver without this, so we're going to show you now. There are 3 sound effect features and no movable features. We know the 721 has a moving end, spins on the Diagnostic Mode. This has the Diagnostic Mode, but the end doesn't spin. It makes the same sound effect though. So, from start to finish, I'll give you the 3 sound effects along with their light effects after. That's the first one, and as you can see, pretty much what happened was it has a sort of fade-in option, kind of, I suppose. It fades into the light opposed to just appearing like other screwdrivers. The light shines through the bottom bits, as well as the middle, as well as the tip as well. The light is actually quite bright, and actually does look pretty good. It's hard to showcase on camera with the lighting, of course, but it actually does come out quite well. It's a standard, everyday sonic screwdriver noise, but it does include something a little bit different as well, so I'll let you have a listen to that. Notice when you click down the button, it has a bit of a clicking noise in the audio thing before you remove it. So every time you press the button, no matter what function it's on, it makes a little tiny click noise. You'll have to really listen carefully, but it is definitely there. I've had a bit of a play around with it, and it seems to work quite well. The second mode you can do is the Diagnostic Mode, which sounds like this. As you can see, once again, the light just is a solid light. There's no movement or flickering with the light. This is the sound effect mode on the 720 screwdriver that would spin the end. So because you can kind of hear a moving sound effect on the thing, you kind of expect that will be the one that is meant to move this. But obviously on the character options figure, it actually doesn't do that. Instead just makes noise. The noise is pretty good, the audio is quite clear, but again the light doesn't really vary from the first one. But like many of the other screwdrivers that have been released in the last few years, this one has a secret sound effect, if you will. That if you press the button 3 times and hold on the third, you get the flickering sonic noise along with the light. The first is the 11th Doctor screwdriver. It makes a similar sort of noise and flickers at the end, and this one doesn't usually obviously use the light function, but it's the 8th Doctor Sonic, and it does include the same sound effect chip. Press it down 3 times. Ooh. You get the same sound effect coming out of there as well. So yeah, it is a sound effect that has been used before, but is utilised well with the flickering effect on the screwdriver. I would be a little bit more annoyed, obviously, if the screwdriver didn't flicker and it was just another solid colour, because it wouldn't really make as much sense. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much all of its features. You can carry it around. You can obviously do the tapping thing on the top, which, you know, with a bit of trial and error, I said, with a bit of trial and error, you're meant to be able to grip it, and it should just... There we go. Right. So when you grip it, sometimes obviously it'll turn on. We've mentioned that before. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So overall, I kind of like it. I can't really hate on something that follows in a series of something I've been collecting for years anyway. But I was very critical when I saw this, and I was kind of disappointed by the original promo pics. But I've got to say, having it in my hand, having a bit of a play with it, and just sort of messing about, really, you know, pointing it at the wall and pressing the Sonic button, is quite cool, and it's a lot of fun. And when I do get around to doing our Series 11 reviews for this series, this is going to be a very useful prop. I was thinking I may have to buy the 720 version, but actually I don't. This version is pretty good by itself. It looks good, and I can like sort of point it, and it looks good, it works, it does its job. It doesn't look as cheap as it did on the promo pics. It doesn't look as flimsy as it did on the promo pics. The only fault that I really have with this are the very obvious screw holes, and obviously the line down the middle of the screwdriver, which just looks like it's been sort of haphazardly pressed together. In fact, mine actually doesn't even look like that should be there. That should look like it's been crushed in a little bit more. So yeah, the Sonic really only looks good from one angle, or maybe 2 angles. It just depends on how you show it, I suppose, and how you display it, but it's absolutely your choice, really. I think it just depends on the person. But personally, I really enjoy this. I definitely recommend it for someone who lives in the UK. If you do live in the UK, do not bother saving up loads and loads of money for a 721, when this is actually, you know, it does its job. If you want something a little bit more professional, like a proper sort of display piece, then the 721 probably will be for you. But for this, I'm having very little problems with it. I'm liking the sort of automatic glow thing when you sort of hover over one button, and I do like the fact that it has a few different sound effects as well as sort of pulsating light options. You know, it looks good, and it's a good representation of what Jodie Whittaker's screwdriver looks like. And it's nice to have one of these quite early on as well. You know, the series hasn't aired yet. We've only got the one trailer, and already we have the new Sonic screwdriver just sitting in my hand here. And that's really, really cool. So yeah, I really like it. I'm a big fan of the Sonic design anyway, this series. So to finally have one of the toys in my hand is very much a lot of fun. And I'm really, really glad I bought this. So yeah, I will leave a link in the description if you want to go and buy one of these yourself. I'll leave the cheapest option I can possibly find for you. Living in the UK, if you live in America, then go all out, get the 721. I've heard that's great. I'm very, very jealous of you. I may look forward to getting one myself, but for now, I'm very much happy with what I've got here. It's a nice addition to the collection and doesn't look out of place at all. I've been Creepy, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment below for any more suggestions in the future, subscribe if you haven't already. Please do check out the Patreon, Discord server, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. down in the description below. And I'll see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.